Welcome to the study abroad presentation for our parents who are going through parent orientation. My name is Vienna Leonarduzzi. I'm the study abroad program specialist at Michigan Tech. I work within the Pavlis Honors College, and I've been serving in this role now for 7 years. There are a lot of study abroad benefits, one of them being career advantages. So as your students are going to career fair, recruiters will be looking for things that set them apart from their peers. And having an international experience is going to set them apart. And that's because recruiters are aware of the benefits and the skills that students are gaining from that international experience. So for example, critical thinking, problem solving, those are two things that you tend to see on a job posting, job description posting. And these are things that you're going to gain from an international experience. So there's definitely career advantages to studying abroad. There are academic advantages. So as a Michigan Tech student who is participating on a Michigan Tech study abroad program, the courses will be valued for Michigan Tech credit. So students do not have to worry about delaying graduation. So what they're taking abroad will satisfy their Michigan Tech degree requirements. If they're going on programs outside of the faculty-led programs, which I'll talk about in a moment, programs that are not faculty-led, the courses will not affect their GPA. So if they're taking a course at a host university in Australia, the student will earn a grade from that host university, but it will not affect their Michigan Tech GPA. So I tell students maybe there's a math or some sort of STEM course that they're a little nervous about taking at Michigan Tech, and they could take that course abroad, receive Michigan Tech credit, and their GPA will not be impacted. With study abroad, of course, there's lots of unique course offerings. So for example, they could go to Spain in the fall and take a windsurfing or a sailing course, and that would be equivalent to PE credit at Michigan Tech. Maybe they want to take a cuisine course in India, take some Indian cuisine classes. That would be equivalent to a humanities course at Michigan Tech. Going abroad is also an opportunity to break away from what I would consider the rigorous Michigan Tech, academic culture. Students, of course, are very studious here, and they will be while they're abroad. But let's be honest, it's going to be nice to break away a little bit and learn how to take classes abroad and just be in a different academic culture. There are personal benefits to studying abroad. So students are going to learn a lot about themselves. They're going to learn how to be independent while abroad. So I use the example when I first traveled abroad, I realized I wasn't good with navigating and I got lost a couple times. So I learned that, I have to be prepared when I'm traveling out on my own so I don't get lost. The wild card section. So I tell students now is the time to study abroad because there's money available. So as a college student, there's lots of funding opportunities to study abroad. So Michigan Tech students can use their financial aid towards their study abroad program. So whatever they're going to be using to pay for their time at Michigan Tech, that can also be applied towards their study abroad experience. In addition to what they already are using, there are study abroad scholarships that they can apply for. So again, now's the time to go because they have the money available for them to use. I joke with students that they'll become the life of the party. They'll become, the popular one in their friend group because they are having this international experience. They'll become more globally in tune, globally aware, global citizen. And then, of course, students will have lots of photos and videos to share with their friends over social media. So now I'm going to spend a little bit of time on programs. I did forget to mention this QR code that is right here. You can scan that and that will actually open up a PDF in Google for you. And you can see more information about the programs that we have to offer. So the first program model is reciprocal exchange. This is probably what you think of when you hear about study abroad, where we send students there, they send their students to Michigan Tech for a semester or a year. That's basically the concept. So it's an exchange. So Michigan Tech students would enroll in that host university. They'll take classes with locals and other international students and spend a semester or a year. Our program in Hanover, Germany, they do have some summer short-term programs as well. Some key things here is students will pay the same as Michigan Tech tuition. So exactly what they'd be paying for a semester at Michigan Tech is what they will be billed by Michigan Tech for their time abroad. And it is really meant for someone who can live independently and maybe doesn't need a lot of, hand holding 24/7, but they would have the support of their host university. So for an example, Michigan Tech has an International Student Services Office, and they are there to service our international students here. So that would be the same idea then for when our students go abroad, they would have the support of that host university's international office. Next program model is the European Project Semester, also known as EPS. This is an opportunity for our engineering students. So students who are going to be majoring in engineering at Michigan Tech are able to do this program. It's an opportunity for them to complete their engineering senior design. So as engineers get into their junior and obviously senior year, they are going to need to complete senior design, which is a 2-semester requirement at Michigan Tech. However, with EPS, they can complete that 2 semesters worth of credits in 1 semester abroad. So that is the draw there. So if students are thinking about going abroad, they're an engineer, they want to go to Europe, this program is for them. So they would be part of a cohort of international students, about 30 other students from around the world, and they'll be placed in teams, so a project team. So for example, maybe it's a project of 3 people consisting of a Michigan Tech student, maybe a student from Spain, for example, and maybe a student from China. So the 3 of them would be contributing their academic expertise to that project. So maybe there's a computer science student, maybe there's a software engineering student, and maybe electrical engineering. So maybe they're doing some sort of technical, project. So the idea is there for them to learn how to work on a team, an international team with a real client. So these are clients that are picked out by the host university that the EPS program is hosted at. And the Michigan Tech students would get their senior design credits taken care of with that 1 semester program. It's taught in English and it costs the same as Tech tuition. So these are the locations that we have partnerships with for the EPS program. Not all of them are offered every semester. It's kind of like Germany, that's a spring only program. And you can read there, if you scan that QR code, you can see more information in that PDF. But it's a very popular program, and we have a lot of students who do it. Next is the Michigan Tech faculty led. As the name indicates, Michigan Tech faculty are leading Michigan Tech students abroad, and they are going to be taking Michigan Tech classes. So these tend to be in the summer, track A or B, but we are getting more programs planned that would be offered maybe during spring break or maybe possibly a semester, but you can pretty much count on them for right now to be offered in the summer. And the draw here is if someone wants to go abroad with their friends from Michigan Tech, maybe want some extra support from that faculty or faculty members, they would have that through this program. So the locations, I don't think I have them listed, but for an example, we have one to Lima, Peru. We have another one that's going to be going to Ireland, another to England that's been running for several years, very popular program. We may also have one to Germany and Costa Rica. So a program represented, kind of all over. Next up, we have third-party provider. So we have a lot of companies that we work with that fall under this program model. So they would have 24/7 on-site support. These programs are offered summer, semester, academic year. The courses are evaluated for Michigan Tech credits. So before the student even leaves for the program, they know what credit they'll receive. There's opportunities for all majors, locations all over the world. There's group excursions that are led by the company that they're there with and the other students who are on that same program. There are internship and service learning opportunities in some locations. So service learning would be where they get involved with that community in addition to being a student there. Internships are unpaid, so it's just the experience of being there and working there. That's what they would be getting. And some majors may give internship credit. And then the way that we pay for this program is we are comparing Michigan Tech tuition to the program fee. So each company has a set program fee that covers the cost of housing, some excursions, some meals perhaps, some travel insurance and health insurance. So what we would do is compare the student's Michigan Tech tuition to the program fee, and whichever is greater out of the two is what the student will be billed by Michigan Tech for. So here is just a visual here to show you all the third parties that we work with. Some things I'll note here. So the Global Semesters program, that's a program in Cyprus. That's a European Mediterranean island country. Very, very cool place. I visited that. It was really neat. It's mainly known for their med school program. So they have a cadaver lab there, and students get to work in that cadaver lab, which is very unheard of at the undergrad level, but this program would allow, let's say that your students thinking about going to med school and they want to get some experience before going. This would be a good opportunity for them to go to Cyprus in the summer. The Education Abroad Network, or TEEN. TEEN and ISA are like sibling programs under one umbrella. TEEN specializes in programs in Asia and the Pacific region, and they offer internships and study. International Studies Abroad, ISA, they have locations all over the world, and they are the ones who offer service learning, internships, undergrad research, and Christian missions. NCA FAME is a program in France, and that's only for computer science, computer engineering, and electrical engineering students. USAC is very similar to ISA in the fact that they have locations all over the world and internship and service learning options. Frontiers Abroad is a program in New Zealand, and that's for our geology and natural science students. Japan Center for Michigan Universities, JCMU, that's intensive, immersive Japanese language and culture program, semester and summer. But we do get a lot of students who stay there for a full year, so fall and spring, and they would gain 10 credits of language each semester. And Semester at Sea is a semester-long program where students live on a ship sailing around the world, visiting about 10 to 12 countries in that time. They are living on that ship with their classmates, their faculty, and their staff. It's a very, very unique program. Their courses tend to be at that second year, maybe third year, first semester level. So they are kind of like in that lower middle range course level. So if a student is looking to do Semester at Sea, they should do that in their sophomore year, just so there's more course flexibility. Before I move on to financial resources, I did want to mention that the soonest that students can study abroad, so first years, the soonest they can study abroad is going to be next summer. So summer of 22 is going to be the first time they can go abroad. And a couple of reasons for that is they need to have an established GPA. So these programs that I've been showing you, they all have GPA requirements. They tend to range from like the 2.0 up to maybe like a 3.2 range, but most of them tend to be like around 2.5. So students need to have an established GPA before they can go. And we also want them to have some sort of academic record with the university. So the soonest that your child can go abroad is going to be summer of 22. All right, so now I'm going to jump into financial resources. So as a reminder, students can use their financial aid and scholarships towards their study abroad program. I create a budget sheet for them that shows their out-of-pocket expenses. So airfare is going to be a big one that's out of pocket. So airfare is not going to be included on the student's bill that we give them. That's something that they'll have to account for on their own. And then of course, personal expenses, maybe they want to be doing some additional travel while they're there. Of course, their weekly expenses. So the budget sheet that we give them would cover that. There are national scholarships that I want to just quickly highlight. So there's the Benjamin A. Gilman that ranges between $1,000 and $5,000. Those are that scholarship is for students who are Pell Grant eligible, so they have to be receiving the Pell Grant in order to even apply for the Gilman. Preference is given to first generation students, so maybe they're the first one in their family to go to college. They also look for STEM majors. They also look for students who are wanting to learn the language of the country that they're going to be studying in. There's a couple other criteria things, but the main thing is there that have to be a Pell Grant eligible student. The Boren Scholarship ranges between $8,000 and $20,000. So $8,000 would be for a summer program, $10,000 for a semester, and $20,000 for a full year program. So this is for students who will be studying in a country that speaks a critical need language. So languages such as Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, Hindu. There's a couple more on that list. Basically, the ones that isn't commonly known. And candidates must also have or demonstrate an interest in public service. So the Boren Scholarship is funded by the Department of Defense, so it's a federal scholarship. And actually, students who receive the scholarship, there is the requirement when the student graduates from their home university that they have to do a service component with a public service entity. So for example, NASA or the CIA. So there is going to be the expectation and requirement that when they graduate from their home university, they have to do a service, a service project or work in service. And fund for education abroad, FEA, the amount varies. So this is kind of a program where a student submits one application and then there's several, if not maybe close to 100 scholarships that are kind of part of this fund. And the people who are evaluating the applications would then decide, okay, this person is going to be going to Japan and they're going to be learning Japanese and they're a STEM major. Well, maybe there's a scholarship that is looking for that specific criteria. So then that student would get that award. And Michigan Tech and provider scholarships. So for example, Michigan Tech offers a scholarship for students who are part of the College of Engineering. So if your child is going to be an engineering student, there's a study abroad scholarship for those students. We have others that are listed on our study abroad website. And then each of the program providers listed here, they also have scholarships available to students. So this is not just show that this is the only funding available. There is just so much to go over, and I don't have enough time to do that with you today, but you can always email me if you have specific questions about funding, because I know that's a big thing that parents are concerned about. Okay, application process, recommended to start planning 12 to 18 months in advance. I do get those last minute planners that are trying to go abroad in 4 months time. It can happen, but they're going to be limited in their options. So for students who want to spend a little bit extra time looking at all their options, making sure that they're looking at the right classes, saving money, it's advised to start 12 to 18 months. So we use a program software called ViaTRM. That's what students use to look at all our programs, submit the application. Then they have another program application to fill out. And then we have the pre-departure stage where I help them pick out their classes, apply for scholarships, start looking at this fun stuff, airfare, passport if they don't have one yet, and visa if that's going to be needed for their host country. If your child does not have a passport yet, they should probably get on that ASAP because the processing time is a bit longer now because of the pandemic. So I read somewhere that it could take up to 18 weeks. So the typical time was 6 weeks, but it has increased up to 18 weeks. So if your child is wanting to study abroad, they should get their passport as soon as they can, and it is good for 10 years. Just to give you another kind of idea of our timeline and deadlines. So I mentioned earlier that the student has to wait till after they complete their first 2 semesters at Tech to study abroad. So March 1st, if they want to go in the summer, so March of 2022, excuse me, will be their deadline. That's Michigan Tech study abroad deadline. And I'm just taking a drink of water. So next steps that I would tell a student and start writing down their goals, their wish list of what they want to do in a study abroad program, where they want to go. You and your children can look at our YouTube channel, and then eventually create their via TRM profile, and they will use their Michigan Tech sign-in credentials for that. And they should definitely let their advisor know, like during the first month or two of their time at Tech, that they're thinking about studying abroad. So the advisor at least has that on their radar, and they know how to support them going forward. So I can be reached by email, studyabroad@mtu.edu. That is my preferred method of contact, so I can have your questions in writing and I can share things with you. Connect with us. I think, yeah, that's our email newsletter for our students to sign up on. There is our website there, and we are on Instagram. So I hope this was a helpful presentation for you. If you still have questions, please feel free to email me and I can answer those for you. And have a good day and travel safe back home if you are in the Houghton area right now. All right, bye.